everyone. It's Brian from Madness and Motive. Before Donna Adelson made it to Vietnam, she was arrested in the airport. And today I have her probable cause affidavit. It's a document I want to go over with you. I want to take a deep dive. I want to look at the charges against her and some of the evidence that might prove she's good for those charges. I've also highlighted a couple of things that are kind of like side roads. I couldn't help myself. There's so many interesting nuggets in this document. Let's jump in. Okay, so we start here at the top with the charges, and something that jumped out at me, these are Chuck's charges. This is exactly what Charlie was just found guilty on. So we've got murder, conspiracy, and solicitation to commit. Those are the three. And Donna is up for the same three charges. So let's continue on and look at some of the things I highlighted in this document. Number one is Wendy's interview with police, where she suggests the murder of Dan could have been arranged by someone on her behalf. And then she indicates her parents were very angry at Markel. So already police are smelling a motive from Wendy's own statements. Here's a little bit more about that relocation element that the two families were fighting over so heatedly. Determined to have Wendy and the two Markel children relocated to South Florida, which is exactly where they ended up. Next, we have Wendy's parents, especially her mother, Donna, repeatedly tried to convince Wendy to coerce Markel into allowing the relocation to South Florida. So this is just kind of supporting the motive. When I came across this paragraph here, it talks about, Sigfrido and Luis and Catherine and their involvement. And just something that struck me, we had kind of two parties involved here. If you've seen that map of the cast of characters, you've got Luis, Sigfrido, and Catherine kind of on the right and the Adelsons on the left. And one party is doing this for money. The other, which would be the Adelsons, for power, control, and it gets a lot more complicated on their side. There's resentment and hatred and all kinds of other elements involved here. But I just thought that was kind of interesting and also pretty sad. I think Dan really stepped on a bear trap here when he met Wendy, and he didn't realize it. Now, here are some of my highlights where we're going to veer off a little bit. I just thought this stuff was so interesting, and I couldn't help myself. I had to mention it to you. So first of all, after Dan's murder, Wendy finds out, I believe, from police, and then she contacts Donna. Charlie calls Donna's cell phone at 7:13. The call duration is 5 minutes and 47 seconds. There's a second call not long after that. Again, Charlie to Donna, and the duration is 6 minutes and 31 seconds. So if my math is correct, we're under 15 minutes. So the father of Donna's grandchildren is brutally murdered, shot in his driveway. He's gone, and they don't even talk about it for 15 minutes. I just talked to my mom on the phone about an apple pie recipe for about 27 minutes. This just struck me as really strange, and I wanted to call it out for you. Another thing I had to highlight, because I didn't know this, and please let me know in the comments if I'm reading this wrong, but listen to this. Wendy's parents, Harvey and Donna, made contact with the lead investigator at Markel's memorial service. I didn't realize they attended. I knew Charlie didn't from his testimony, but I didn't realize Harvey and Donna attended. Knowing what we know, and evidence being so strong that Donna was involved in Dan's murder, it is chilling to think that she was standing there at his memorial service. Here's something else that kind of made me roll my eyes. Harvey and Donna agreed to contact the investigator. They did not make good on that promise, as you'll see in a future highlight. Another thing that I was laughing about, but not like in a funny way, but kind of it just shows Wendy's character. TPD investigator contacted Wendy on her cell phone. Once the investigator identified himself, Wendy claimed to have a bad connection The call was terminated, and the investigator got a call back from Wendy's attorney to let him know that Wendy had left town. So she's already deceiving and lying. She fakes a bad connection. She hangs up, tucks tail, and busts out of town. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, here's where we get to Harvey and Donna not making good on their promise. Harvey and Donna Adelson left Tallahassee with Wendy and the grandchildren the day after the memorial service without speaking to the investigator as promised. Since leaving, no one in the Adelson family contacted the Tallahassee PD or inquired about the status of the investigation. There's a lot of information here. I didn't highlight anything because it really details the story of Catherine and Sigfredo and Luis. There are some phone records. I think this is all interesting to go over. And if I haven't mentioned it already, I'm going to link this document in the description if you'd like to take a look for yourself. I would encourage you to go over this call log. It's very interesting and also quite sad to see Dan's name on here, knowing that these were his last moments. So now we are at what I'm calling the drop. So this is where Donna is texting Charlie and letting him know I'm 10 minutes out, or I'm outside your house. And then Charlie says, I'm 10 minutes away. And she delivers the money that she had washed. So we've got Meg Banoa stated that while she was at Charlie's, he was armed and acting frantic. And clearly Chuck is in over his head at this point. He told Catherine that his mother and father had just left and left the money that his mom had washed. So that's what Katie had said. One thing I thought was kind of interesting was Charlie told Katie that the money was in the trunk of her car the next morning. So I just thought that was kind of odd. It's an activity that I didn't know about and I hadn't imagined. I was trying to figure out when this could have happened. Katie did take a Xanax that night and she fell asleep. And then I'm wondering if Charlie grabbed her keys, opened her trunk and tucked the money in. Just sort of struck me as a detail I didn't know before and thought it was kind of interesting. And then, yeah, here you see the communication records that are showing Donna telling Charlie she's outside the house and she is prepared for the drop. Okay, and now that the drop has occurred, and again, this document is clearly showing Donna's involvement, now we have the payments beginning. So after the homicide occurred, Meg Banoa started receiving paychecks that were handwritten and signed by Donna, even though, as you'll see, Meg Banoa did not work for the Adelson Institute. Meg Banoa received a significant amount of cash after Markel's murder. We see here that investigators have totaled it over $56,000. And I've got again, it's kind of a side road highlight here, that the deposits were conducted through an ATM in increments of $300 to $2,000. Clever girl, Catherine, trying probably to mask what this was. She didn't want it to be like steady deposits of 2,000 or whatever. She tried to change it up to make it look, I guess she's just randomizing it to try to cover it. These little things really jump out to me as I try to think about the details that they were living every day, holding on to this secret, trying to conceal and hide and evade. Moving along the timeline, here we have the bump, and what a beautiful move this was by law enforcement. If you imagine that all the characters involved in this were in a little bubble that they thought they were so safe inside with their code and their randomized actions, the bump just completely burst that bubble and sent everything and everyone into disarray. What a beautiful thing. And one thing the bump did was it caused that communication between Donna and Charlie over the phone, where Donna says, Charlie asked, what do you think this involves me? And she said, probably the two of us. You probably have a general idea of what I'm talking about. This is where Vinny from Court TV joked about that song, Just the Two of Us, which I can't not think about now when I see this. Now, here's another damning thing against Donna. This is where she's speaking in code. This TV is probably about 5. So here we go with the TV again, this $5,000 TV. I wanted to bring up 2 things. So number one, I saw someone on YouTube who drove by Wendy's house that she was living in at the time. And it's a really small house. And one comment that they made, I think they had knowledge about the inside of that kind of house, and it's really small in there. It wouldn't make sense to have a gigantic TV in a house like that. And it probably wouldn't even fit. So this makes no sense. And the second thing I wanted to mention is maybe I'm out of the loop with technology, but I have not run across a $5,000 TV. I mean, unless you're looking at something that's got like a curved screen and, I don't know, sapphire glass in the front, maybe it'll be $5,000, but I have not run into that before. Here's another interesting tidbit from the affidavit that I didn't know before. So this is one of these meetings between Charlie and Donna, and actually possibly his father. No, I think it's just Charlie and Donna. And it says he and Donna walked outside to a remote table behind the building. This building is where they live. It's called the Icon. They sat close together while conversing. None of their conversation was captured. I would give anything to hear or read that conversation. But I just thought it was interesting that they go to these remote locations to have these private conversations. There's another one that happens later on too. This part is the transcript of the conversation between Charlie and Katie at Dolce Vita. We've heard a lot about that already. Now, after this meeting at Dolce Vita, Charlie calls Donna back and he reports about the meeting. And this is kind of, again, it's implicating Donna. She is clearly involved here. This paragraph right here is that classic real estate convo. It's more of that ridiculous code that they were using. And now look at this. Another element that I was not aware of. After the bump, they actually had some follow-up activities that law enforcement did. One of them was the letter. So a letter was sent to Harvey and Donna Adelson. This letter was sent by investigators for the purpose of follow-up. After receiving it, Donna shared the information with Charlie, who in turn forwarded it to Meg Banois. So this is really interesting, the letter. I was not aware of this before reading the affidavit. And here you can see that train car thing happening where, you know, Donna gets something, she communicates to Charlie, he passes it on to Katie, or it can go the other way as well. Another interesting element here is when Charlie and Katie were communicating via WhatsApp, again, to conceal that communication, Charlie actually directed her to his parents' building, which was a very foolish move because they went to great lengths to separate each character from each other. So it was okay for Charlie and Katie to communicate, but you know, maybe Katie was not supposed to be communicating with the parents. Here, Charlie tries to bring them all together. Charlie told Meg Banois he was talking to his parents about everything. So there's another damning piece of evidence showing that Donna was brought into all this. I also want to mention, you might be thinking, hey, you know, I've heard about Charlie's parents a lot. Harvey and Donna are mentioned a lot in this document. Yes, I agree. I think there's more than we might have thought against Harvey, and I'm going to be doing another video where I roll through this document and maybe some others, and I focus just on evidence against Harvey, just to see what that case might look like and how many points the state might score in a trial. Now, here was another really interesting tidbit. Charlie told Donna to stop getting worked up about things. So this was, again, after the bump, and I thought this was really interesting because I just heard actually multiple people talking about maybe Wendy's the true mastermind. I think this is really interesting because first we focus on Charlie and we say, okay, he's in the middle of that map, that cast of characters. He's the mastermind. But then we start to realize actually maybe it's Donna because we read her emails and we see how forceful she is and how strong and controlling she seems to be. But now maybe there's a deeper layer that we go to and we think, actually, maybe Wendy is just playing that damsel in distress role and she's actually pulling the strings through I would say, passive manipulation. She's acting weak, and she's feeding her mother details about this divorce and how Dan is doing this and keeping the kids from her. And she's knowingly getting Donna worked up, knowing that Donna is strong and has controlling tendencies, and it will trigger this kind of behavior. It will make Donna do something about it. And then it's not Wendy's idea. That's something I'm thinking more and more about, and I'm kind of looking for as I analyze testimony and documents. Now, here's another follow-up from the bump. Totally fascinating. We've had the bump, we've had the letter, and now we have the text. A text message was sent to Donna's cell phone from an undercover agent. While driving to meet Donna, Charlie called Catherine, advising there was a new problem and he may need to meet with her, Catherine, that day. So here we have another bump follow-up, and then the train cars start communicating. Donna tells Charlie, Charlie tells Katie, and they're trying to figure out what to do about it. Charlie arrives at the Icon where his parents live, and they agree to meet at the pool area to discuss the text message. Here's another outdoor conversation that I am not privy to, but I wish I was. If you remember, when the drop happened, Charlie was walking around with a gun and he was anxious. He's in a panic. Well, June Umchinda, which is one of his ex-girlfriends, also observed Donna Adelson to be stressed out during this time frame, and Donna Adelson made a statement to June that she felt Dan Markel was haunting her from the grave. So Donna is exhibiting very similar behavior to Charlie after the bump. And I wanted to shout out one of my subscribers, Shanti Christian. I hope I'm saying that right. They stated that, it kind of feels so poetic here that maybe Dan is guiding some of this. And I thought that was an interesting thought, and it kind of ties into exactly what Donna said. Whereas we're fans of Dan, so we say he's guiding this. She is not a fan of Dan, and she's, quite involved in this whole thing. So she states it as he's haunting her. And here we have the end of the affidavit where they re-emphasize that Katie testified. Charlie told her his mother, Donna, had just left his residence. And, this was after the drop. So they kind of restate that money drop part of it. Maybe they thought that's the strongest nugget in this whole thing as they retold the story. And then, of course, we've got some jail calls to Charlie from Donna mentioning she's getting things in order. She might be planning a suicide or plans to go to Vietnam. A very, very interesting document. I wanted to go over it with you today and kind of pull out some of the things that I think implicate Donna on these charges. Let's do a quick review. Let me get this scrolled to the right place. Let's do a quick review. So first of all, Donna is up on the same 3 charges as her son, Charlie. What makes her good for these charges? Well, number one, we've got a motive here. The relocation, the bitter divorce, all the court battling, and Donna's clear involvement in this. We've got the drop where they can place her near or at Charlie's residence, and she's communicating with him that I'm here. And Katie also had some testimony about washed money. The next thing is signed checks after the murder. These are handwritten and signed by Donna. We've got the bump and her reaction to it. The bump really broke up this protective bubble they thought they were in. And Donna's reaction to this was very, very odd for an innocent person, to say the least. We also have Donna participating in this code speaking. We know that this kind of stuff did not fool Charlie's jury. So it's, reasonable to say that it's not going to fool Donna's jury either. And we've got some bump follow-ups. So we've got the letter, we've got the text, and all the follow-up conversations that happen directly after these follow-up messages are received. It's incredibly incriminating and shows that sort of train car communication that they were doing. Again, this this was all really effective in Charlie's trial, so I think it could work again. We've got the behavioral changes post-murder. We've got June that talks about those in her interview with police. So that's not a good sign. Again, innocent person shouldn't be behaving strangely. And I should have also mentioned she was acting strange more directly after the bump. And then finally, the classic. She tried to flee to Vietnam, and she had a phone call with Charlie, discussing putting things in order and that kind of thing. So this is what led up to her arrest. These are some of the things that I think make her good for these charges. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive. And if you did, consider giving me a like, subscribing to the channel. I will see you in the next video, and have a great day.